from there. So in this template, it's really as basic as it gets. It is just a giant plane, um, and in the middle of it, well, the origin's right about there where I'm pointing with my cursor, but um, there are 4 spawn points, and spawn points are the traditional way to get players to show up into your space. And people have asked this in the past about how it works. Do you want to explain, Dom, like how does it decide like which?
Yeah, so I mean the basic functionality of spawn points is it's just literally going to randomly assign you to one of these spawn points. Um, I believe this is true for spawn points. I know it's true for waypoints that are configured as spawn points, which I think is the same thing now. That if someone is already spawned in that spawn point, it will wait until they have moved away to use that one again. So it'll kind of round robin, or it'll randomly assign to available spawn points. And then if it's already filled them, I believe you'll kind of just end up at the origin or something like that. But so you want to definitely have a decent number of spawn points.
If you start
Um,
your scene with just one spawn point, that's where you run into the thing where like
Everyone will kind of just spawn in the same
you're
spot,
like
and that's
inside somebody's head when you show
yeah,
up, right?
yep.
We designed these spawn points and waypoints actually using the sort of robot avatar. That's the actual size of the avatar, and the point at the bottom, the little like cone sort of triangle thing, is exactly the spot on the ground where you spawn in. That's like sort
hmm
of where the base
And
of
you'll
your
you'll end up snapping to the nav mesh once you move, and I believe even exactly when you spawn, so you don't have to get the position exactly correct, but basically at that point, then we'll kind of find the ground underneath it. Um, but and then you'll see it also has a direction, so it's pointing in an arrow. That's the way they're going to be facing when they join the room. So like if you want them looking in a particular direction, you can also control that with the spawn point.
not only where they're facing, but actually where exactly in height off the ground
Hmm.
their camera will be. So it'll be exactly equidistant between the eye bones of this
Hmm.
avatar. We've talked about that in previous streams, but we added this just so that it was a lot clearer, like where you'd be looking and you know how high you'd be off the ground by default. So these spawn points are very basic. There's only transform information for them, just position and rotation and scale. The scale doesn't really do anything on a spawn point, as far as I know. Um, but the alternative to using a spawn point is using what's called a waypoint. Now, I'm going to expand this a little bit so you can see the different elements that we have here. Their icons are identical. Sorry, but and actually the way they look in the world is the same. Really, the way that we look at this is that waypoints are like the more powerful spawn point. They're like spawn
Hmm.
point 2.0 in a way. And if you're wondering like, well, should I use one or the other? Really, you might as well kind of move forward just using waypoints.
Yeah, I mean, spawn points are just a pre-configured waypoint. Basically, like it's just a waypoint with a specific set of options already set. We might eventually just change it such that it literally does that, even if we keep spawn point as an option in the elements, just so people can find it more easily. We might make it so that like when you drop one in, it just creates a waypoint with pre-configured options, because that's actually what's happening under the hood. So it might actually be more confusing this way, uh,
I think
that we
so.
have.